So when I arrived that year of election 92, when I arrived on campus, I saw a lot of NPP people moving around left, right, and center, showing their symbols, shouting, Aishi, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I saw that hardly anybody had the courage to identify with the NDC. So I used to wonder, but why NPP people all over the place, and NDC you hardly see anyone? So I think it wasn't long, man. Say he got it at Kokomeme near Paloma. And I said, yeah, what is that place? He said, that's where the NDC office was. So I decided I'm going to go to that place. So back in time, we used to move across, and we took our trotro, and when you walk down, after the gate, there, right? So I joined one trotro and to circle. I lighted a Paloma, and I asked, where's the NDC office? They showed me the NDC office. And that day, when I went into the office, first time I was in the office, I went and I looked for every paraphernalia that could be obtained, from the umbrella to the shirt. Then at that time we had like a bag. Then you have what you call a badge, and from that day all the way to at that time we had the first election November 3, and the second was supposed to be December 3. Of course, the December 3 NPP ran away from it, so it happened to only be November when we did a presidential. So from that day to November 3, every single day, all I did on this campus was to wear the NDC paraphernalia. And the reason I did that was simple. Simply to give courage to many on this campus who believed in the NDC, who believed in what Jerry John Rawlings had done, but simply were too afraid to show that they belonged to a party that was worth fighting and dying for. What am I trying to tell you? That you must have the courage of conviction. You must believe in a cause and be ready to fight for that cause, even if it means everything was going to be against you. I was then in the Department of Economics, and anybody who knows University of Ghana back in time, the stronghold of the NPP was the Economics Department. Every lecturer in the Economics Department was effectively NPP to the core. And who born dog for you to show that you were NDC? Despite that, I said, you know what, I don't care. I argued with them every step of the way. In the lecture room, the lecturer is speaking against NDC, and I rise up and say, sir, you are wrong. And then it becomes a debate. And I debate on behalf of the NDC, he debates on behalf of the NPP, and trust me, I almost always won the debates. Now, I'm not saying this to praise myself. All I'm trying to tell you is that you must have a desire for something great for your country. I believed then, and I still believe now, that the NDC was the vehicle for the transformation of our country. I believe Jerry Rawlings was an instrument that was meant to bring real transformation to our country. And I believe Jerry Rawlings was simply taking over from Kwame Nkrumah, who actually was the founder of our country and the first among all the leaders of our country. This country, Ghana, is a country of destiny. The only problem that has bedeviled our country has been the selfishness, the greed, and the lack of creativity and vision. And so I want to tell you, not just members of NDC on campus, but young people, that if we want to see the reset that we want to see, it's not just going to depend on John Dramani Mahama. It's not just going to depend on the ministers. It's not just going to depend on the chief executives. It's going to mean a complete change of mindset from especially you or young people. Anytime I have an opportunity to talk to young people, I often don't do too much politics. The reason is simple. 1, 2, 3 of you who is able to find that capacity to bring change and transformation can be the means through which this country, and not just this country, the whole of this continent sees a transformation. So I don't like to just do normal politics when I meet young people. Why? Because you are too important and you are such instrument that can bring so much transformation to us. You often hear our anthem and you love it. But somehow many of us don't even take time to understand the anthem. The anthem is actually a call to patriotism. It starts with the words, "Arise, arise for Ghana." Those are deep words. Arise for Ghana. It means every single thing we do should be about this country. Because once this country becomes great and strong, your individual aspirations become easy to fulfill. But as long as this country is not strong, you will have difficulties. Over the last 7 months, we have seen rapid upward movement in everywhere. We've seen inflation come down very rapidly. We have seen this our currency become stronger and stronger. We have seen growth in the economy starting again. We've seen what you call disbursements that are now going to bring about rapid change as far as our infrastructure is concerned. Our roads, our transport infrastructure, and so many developmental projects that became neglected over the last several years. We've seen discipline in government. Quick discipline is bringing about what you call a rapid downward descension of the debts that have been accumulated for so long. Now, all these are signs that things are beginning to get better. But let me tell you, the real truth is that the victory of NDC on December 7th was not just a political victory. Kwame Nkrumah, our founder, Jerry John Rawlings, the founder of our party. I'm talking Kwame Nkrumah as the founder of Ghana, and Jerry John Rawlings, the founder of the NDC. I mean, we're great leaders. But even they, in their wildest imagination, could never have believed that a political party could win to third majority in parliament. Not they. They could never have believed that. John Dramani Mahama, in his wildest imagination, could never have believed that the NDC could win to third majority in parliament. Never. Myself, as General Secretary, somebody told me that we could win to third majority in parliament and sweep election in the manner we did. I've said, no, it's not possible. But he did. Now, it tells you that something happened in this country. And I want to let you to appreciate what really is happening, so that you young people can start appreciating and getting ready. As the 60th year of our independence is approaching, And that is happening in the year 2027. There's something that is stirring in the very soul of this country. The soul of this country is stirring because something must start happening. There must start to happen a shift, an acceleration as far as the destiny of this country is concerned. It means business as usual has to come to an end. Different levels of leadership, different levels of economic management, different levels of attitude and mindset must become the order of the day. That's what I'm saying. You as young people, your mindset must start to change. Education is wonderful. But don't forget, the same educational system produced Baumia. The same educational system produced a man who is not capable of telling the truth. A man who has no capacity to take responsibility, who runs away from anything that is negative and is ready to take credit for everything that is positive. The same educational system, and I can tell you right here on this campus, we have a beautiful example. Not only did we have, what's the name, John Dramani Mahama being also an alumni of this beautiful university. But we also have two great examples. The both of them were born the same year, right? On this campus, they both came. Prof. Mills and Nana Akufo-Addo. Both of them were here. The same educational system here produced John Evans Seta Mills. Wonderful, noble man, truthful man. And that same one produced Nana Akufo-Addo. So it's more than just education. Because if education was simply the solution, then we should be having. And the rest of Africa is looking up to this country to lead once again. We were privileged in 1957 to be the first country south of Sahara to bring what you call the independence of the black man. It was not an accident. You think it was an accident that somehow Ghana, a little country Ghana on the west coast of Africa, was chosen to be the first to have freedom? No. That was a signal. And this little country, west coast of Africa, at the time known as the land of gold, Gold Coast, was chosen to lead. But not only did we lead as far as independence was concerned, we also unfortunately provided leadership when it came to starting to make coups. The very year after independence, 1958, started the first coup attempt in the whole of Africa. And guess who were behind that? The NPP family. They set into motion the process of coup making. So all the many years when you hear them saying that coups are wrong, military dictatorships are wrong, anything that has to do with anti-democratic attempts are wrong, that's who they are. They quickly forget the wrong things they do. But the point I'm making is that we have a destiny ahead of us. And that destiny requires that you, especially the young generation, you were in charge of this resetting agenda. NS's victory was a youth victory. The reset agenda was a youth agenda. It's your restlessness against what you saw being done to our country over the last 8 years. Your desire that there must be a change. This is not acceptable. That was what brought the massive victory. It tells you that somehow you have been positioned to be in a place where this reset must be led by you. John Mahama is simply the leader, and you are supposed to be the driving force of it. And the driving force requires that you yourself start to take greater responsibility. I'm asking for a change of mindset because you see, if you do exactly what your grandparents and your parents and your senior brothers and sisters have done, trust me, 30 years will come and it will be the same conversation again about Ghana trying and coming down and going up and coming down. But we can actually take this to a whole new level if you can appreciate the opportunity that you are being given in order for you to be on a different trajectory for the sake of this beautiful country. One of the things I'm going to ask of you is simple. Often remember, not just love this country, but pray for this country. I can tell you, on this campus, when I was the chairman of the NDC, I was also at the same time the prayer secretary in the University Christian Fellowship. We used to call it GAFES or UCF. And as University Christian Fellowship Prayer Secretary, the only prayer that, if I'm leading prayer, is the main thing we pray about is Ghana and Africa. So right from this campus, the love for nation, the love for continent was massive. I hope to God that many of you will have the same love for this nation right from here. The biggest problem of this continent is that we love ourselves so much and love our nation so little. And if you keep that, this country, this continent is going nowhere. Because any group of people who always place their individual well-being ahead of their national well-being is a group that is going nowhere. That's why I began by asking you, do you understand the anthem you sing? Arise, arise for Ghana. All patriots of the land. It should not be a song that you just sing. Your heart must believe it. You must embody that. And that should affect everything you do. There's no way you love your country. And when you are given an opportunity to lead, all you think about is how much money can I make at the expense of my country? It's not possible. There's no way you love your country, and when you're given an opportunity, you go involve yourself in to destroy the very future of your country. It's not possible. But the problem we have is the level of hypocrisy. When people talk about I love my country, but in their heart, they don't care one hoot about country. They care only about themselves and their small family and how much they can make for themselves at the expense of nation. So you have a political class that has become the greatest hypocritical class. I don't want you growing up in that same politics. And that reminds me of let's just say a joke that I heard the first time on this campus. And we came for a political program on the NPP. And one of our seniors decided to tell us about how sometimes politics just become the deception of the people. And so let me give you that joke. He said there were 4 groups of insurance companies. And they were trying to pitch in order to get business. So the first one came and said, no, our insurance policy is so wonderful to death. So the other person decided that, hey, how am I going to go about this one? This guy is insuring the people from birth to death. Now he has to come upon some very smart policy. Otherwise, business has spoiled for him. And that unfortunately is what our politics became for the most part. So he said, you know what? My policy is better. We can actually do better than from birth to death. We can ensure you from the womb to the tomb. From the womb to the tomb. You have to go through the womb before you are born, right? So you say, I can do better. Then the third political party, the third insurance company came and said, you know what? The first one said from birth to death. The second one said from the womb to the tomb. But we are better. We actually can give you insurance from the time you were a sperm to the time you become a worm. Now the fourth one, and I tell you the name of the fourth one, that's the NPP. NPP Akufo-Addo Bawumia insurance policy. Then when it came, you look at all the three and say what? The first one said from birth to death. The second said from the womb to the tomb. The third one said from the sperm to the worm. We tell you that we can do better than all three. We actually can give you insurance from the time your father had an erection to the time you will have a resurrection. From erection to resurrection. Now, this is a joke, but it tells you about what our politics became ahead of reset. It's simply a politics as to who can promise more. Why? Because the people are considered to be naive. They are considered to be non-intelligent. They are gullible. So you just promise anything. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So that's why somebody came to you and said, oh, we are going to give you one in every district, one factory. In every village, one dam. Every constituency, $1 million. It just promised the people. I hope to God that your generation will not be that kind of politics. Don't. If some people in NDC are your inspirers, and that's the kind of policy they believe in, you have chosen wrong inspirers. Because this political party was not born through a founder who was a liar. In fact, the whole of 92 and the whole of 96, he never mounted a platform to even make any promise, I'm going to do this for you, vote for me. Never. This whole politics of promises started after him. And it came because, as usual, the erection to resurrection people who made so much noise in 92, made so much noise in 96, that at the end of 96, when we lost power in 2000, our people started thinking, I know what, you also have to start trying to get better than the erection to resurrection political party. And that's how our politics started degrading into becoming a political rivalry as to who can lie more and who can promise more. Not who has the integrity, the honesty, and the capacity to simply do what is right for people and even tell people the truth, even if that truth is uncomfortable. We want you to understand that this nation is so important. So we want you to remember not just to pray for this country, but also remember to embody those values that will make this country great and strong. One of the reasons why we are not doing very well as a people, and I want you young people to appreciate, is that we believe that difficulties are to be complained about. Almost everywhere you go in Africa, the biggest people who lament and mourn and complain are the people of Africa. Nobody likes difficulty. But difficulties are meant to be solved. And all of us have ability to be able to find solutions. But in Africa, no, when there's a problem, there's a time to find somebody to blame. Have you guys noticed that in Africa people don't die? In Africa, almost everybody who dies must have been killed by somebody. Have you noticed that? Yes. When somebody died, the first question is that, who killed him? Either some witch, or his grandmother, or some friend, or somebody who is envious of him, or somebody who wanted. Somebody must kill you in Africa. You don't just die. Let me tell you why that is detrimental to the transformation of any society. You see, if you have a society where the first instinct is to blame someone, that society will never have the capacity to find solutions. The people who find solutions are people who are constantly looking for what are the possible answers. So let me give you a typical scenario, and I'm not saying this because I'm trying to take down Africans. These truths must be understood, otherwise the reset is impossible. The reset is what? Impossible. But if you young people in NDC can start appreciating the need for different levels of mindsets and values, this reset becomes feasible. By the way, my name is Fee, so anytime I use feasible, you should understand. Because you believe that there is always possibilities. Not the Baronian type, but the feasible possibilities. Always find out what else can be done. There's a lot of unemployment in Africa. And also Africa happens to have the biggest opportunities. We have what you call the largest youth resource on this continent. Which other continent has as many young people as we have? And every single one of you young people, you have imaginations, you have capacities. But as long as your first instinct is to try to find somebody to blame, trust me, your capacities will never come to life. Because what you see as a problem, another person is able to see an opportunity hiding in that problem. And that's how the solutions come. Let me give you a typical scenario. We've been in a nation where our currency has suffered for a long time. Our currency has suffered for a very long time. The first time in our history that our currency is actually showing strength and even performing better against the dollar. Shall I tell you the difference? I know some of you will say the difference is the NDC, or the difference is Atu Forsen, who is now our minister. Atu is my direct brother, very close friend of mine. But let me tell you, the difference is simple. All this while, we've been in a country where we have not even been conscious of the fact that the gold that we have, which is actually the very name of our nation, the land of gold, the white people thought it was just the coast that had gold. But we have gold all the way in Upper West, in Upper East. So the whole land is a land of gold. Now, so the very gold, which is the very essence of this country, has the capacity to ensure that our currency is strong. We've never thought about that. Why have we never thought about that? Because unfortunately, that is who we are. We can do the same thing over and over again and never even think that there are possibilities of having new ways of doing it. So our lack is that in this research, we were able to start realizing that, if we can find ways of stopping the gold from being smuggled, if we can find a system by which all the gold can be aggregated, and if we can find a way in which we can export that gold and bring back the foreign resources into our economy, that becomes the salvation of our currency. And this is simply new thinking. that's what I'm saying. This solution, you young people, if only you believe in yourself, you have capacity to find even greater solutions than this to every problem that is facing this country. This is one strand of thinking that brings about stability to currency. I can tell you, there are several even better ideas that if only you would stop lamenting, complaining, blaming A and B and C and start telling yourself that no matter what the problems may be, there are solutions and I want to find those solutions. You can become the means by which we can bring a total transformation of this beautiful country and the continent. I look forward to this party, not just to be a party that sings from victory unto victory. The NDC shall lead. These beautiful, nice songs. But I want it to be a party where especially young people will lead in creativity, in solutions, in love of nation, in commitment to do what is right for our people. Let the competition not be NPP, because unfortunately NPP, the bar is low. Let your competition be the need for going to that next level of excellence every step of the way. I love being on this campus. And I'm grateful to all the lecturers. I was in the economics department, I was in the philosophy department, I was in the psychology department. I love all of them. And all the lecturers who have done a great job. But I tell you, the greatest thing that happened to me on this campus was a book I read. And I read this book the very first week I entered this campus. And that book was not part of the curriculum. It was a book written by a great American, and his name is Napoleon Hill. I pray to God that every single one of you can get the book of Napoleon Hill and read it. And I pray that this nation can understand those principles, because I tell you, we can transform this country and make this country a truly great